start, just a brief word of introduction. My name is Ben Adams. I'm Senior Associate Dean of Students for QuadX here at Duke and the Director of New Student and Family Programs. And our team is here tonight to answer questions that you have about move-in. We'll go through a lot of the logistics information tonight and talk a little bit about what experiential orientation might look like as well. For many of the students that are joining us, you have likely been invited to or attended a project-specific orientation Zoom chat with the student leaders who are leading each of those projects. And so we won't get too much in depth with the experiential orientation. Tonight's a little bit more about just the logistics of move-in day and what you can do in these next 10 days to prepare for the transition to Duke. I want to take a second to allow my team to introduce themselves. We've got a great team here at New Student Family Programs who work year-round to make sure that you have the resources and information you need for a successful transition and onboarding process here at Duke. And the question that I've asked them to answer is, what's your favorite spot on campus that might be worth a visit while you're here dropping off your student, or would be quick to visit if you're a new incoming student? So let me pass it off to Grace, and we'll go around the circle.
Hello, everyone. My name is Grace Sullivan-Zirkle. I'm one of the Associate Directors for New Student and Family Programs. And one of my favorite places on campus is the top floor of the Wellness Center. There are very nice study cubbies. It's very quiet, or maybe you're lucky and someone's playing the piano very peacefully. And there's a perfect view of the chapel from there. Shamice, do you want to go next?
Yeah, thanks, Grace. Hi, everyone. My name is Shamice Banks. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the Assistant Director here in New Student Family Programs, and my favorite place on campus would definitely have to be Duke Gardens. If you love nature, need a nice little break from campus, just to take a nice little walk, it's the perfect place to be. Pass it off to you, Karina.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for being with us tonight. We're excited to talk about all things move-in. My name is Karina. I also use she, her pronouns. I'm one of the associate directors for New Student Family Programs. My favorite place at Duke, it's a hard question, but definitely somewhere athletic, be that Cameron, Wallace Wade. The energy is palatable, and I think it's a very, very fun place to have both great academics and a great sport culture as well.
Awesome. My favorite place is like Shamice. I love the Duke Gardens. I love being outside, and it's a gorgeous spot that oftentimes gets overlooked in the hustle and bustle, but it seems like it can be a mile away when you are kind of there in nature. So let me just kind of give you a little bit of logistics about tonight. We're going to, again, go through a lot of information here. Just for your information, we are recording this, and so you'll have a chance to go back and review it and hear some of these answers. We'll begin answering some of the questions that are going to come in the Q&A, but I promise you that if you will hold off, we will get to probably your question before you even ask it. So if you can hold off until the end, we'll have plenty of time for Q&A to make sure that you have all the information that you need. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that we all can see what we're seeing, and we'll go ahead and get started. So again, you have received a lot of information about move-in day so far. We've sent a lot of information via newsletters, via the New Student Digest, the parent information newsletters. We've also sent a lot of information directly to students from our colleagues over at HRL. So you've seen this, but we do want to take this time to go over some of the logistics just to provide as much direction and clarity as possible. So tonight we're going to walk through 3 different areas. We're going to start with the logistics of move-in. It's a busy day, it's an exciting day, but there are some tips that you can take, or some steps that you can take before you arrive that will make your life easier. We just want to give you a heads up of what to expect when you do arrive, and then the next steps afterwards. I'll pass it off to my colleague Grace to talk a little bit more about move-in day events after the move-in process itself. We've got an exciting day of opportunities for you to relax, but also celebrate the traditions of Duke and be a part of the more school-spirited environment. And then lastly, we'll talk a little bit about experiential orientation and beyond. My colleague Shamice will present a little bit of information about that so that you just know, as students making this transition, what you can expect from the first month while you're on campus. So to give you just an overview of what to expect on move-in day, as you all know, it's Saturday, August 19th, which is just 10 days away. And the day promises to be one of the most memorable days that you've had. We do our best to make sure that you have everything that you need prior to that day so that you have as smooth of a day as possible. And we've made some major changes this year to smooth the transition for families and for students alike. So just to give you a brief 30,000-foot view, and we'll dive into each of these more in depth of what these mean, but in the morning is our time for students to actually move in. And so from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. is really when we'll dive into getting you settled into your residence hall. Later in the evening, we have a large, massive 6,000 person dinner on the quad, which will be in front of Duke Chapel, which is just a beautiful place to spend the afternoon and evening. And it'll be a nice time for you to relax as a family or as friends, and just to kind of spend a little bit of time taking it in this special day for everyone. Our partners over in Duke Athletics are incredible partners who have gifted every single student a customized football jersey. So it will say 27 on the back, will have the student's last name. There's an opportunity for you to pick that up from the football stadium in Wallace Wade, and we'll talk about that and the logistics there. A family farewell is at 7:30 p.m. that night. That is our big celebration of the class of 27, and it's in Cameron Indoor Stadium, which for many of you, I'm sure it would be a new place that you haven't visited before. But it is one of the more well-known spots on campus, as Karina alluded to a second ago. And then lastly, students will be invited to attend socials in their residence hall so they can go ahead and get to know their classmates, their roommates, and the people that live in close proximity to them. So I want to take a second to talk a little bit about that 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. window and give you as much information as I can to, again, help your transition. So there are 3 move-in shifts during move-in day: move-in 1, move-in 2, and move-in 3. Each of these move-in shifts is 2 hours long. We have sent every student information, and you can see here what your assigned move-in window will be based on what residence hall you've been assigned. We ask that you arrive to campus during that move-in shift, during that move-in window. The reason being, and the reason why we stick to such a pretty narrow timeline, is that Duke's East Campus doesn't allow for much flexibility in terms of traffic pattern. In fact, we have to reverse all of the traffic pattern just to get cars moving in an effective and efficient way. So we ask that you come in during the move-in window. You just know that if you miss that window, you will have to wait to get your car on campus until after all move-in windows, because you won't have access to your dorm, again, because of the narrow streets that move throughout East Campus. So make sure that you come. You can arrive a little bit early. The recommendation, just as a heads up, is that we will not begin queuing cars or lining up cars more than 15 minutes prior to that move-in window. So you can arrive a little bit, but especially if you're that 8 a.m. window, the police who are circling the area and managing the traffic will not allow you to stop and line up until about 7:45. So each of these move-in windows is 2 hours long, but we move very efficiently. So we'll talk a little bit about what you can expect. Before you even get on campus, though, there are some basic things that you can do to prepare yourself for that day. Our recommendation is that you go back and look through your Duke list, or the first year checklist, which is on your My Duke account. Confirm that you've submitted all your immunizations. Immunizations at Duke are a North Carolina state law. You're required to have them. And if you are out of compliance, you are withdrawn from Duke University a month into your time here. So we do our best to communicate that as much as possible. There will be a clinic for immunizations on move-in day that's available, so you can take advantage of that. But the easiest thing for you to do would be go ahead and get those immunizations and submit them as soon as you can. Most people have at this point, but we still have some folks who have yet to submit that paperwork. Your experiential orientation waivers are also required for you to take part in experiential orientation. Again, most students have submitted that at this point, but we will require you to turn that in on move-in day as well if you have not done so. The easiest thing to do is to go ahead and submit it. If you received your experiential orientation waiver, you received it via Adobe, which is the platform that we use to get those things signed. Emery Sprouse is one of our staff members who was operating that system. So if you see his name or if you see Adobe, just know that it is from us. There are 3 required modules that students were asked to submit and complete before they arrive on campus. We ask that you finish those before you arrive. And then lastly, it'd be helpful for you to go ahead and submit your Duke card photo, which you can do on the Duke Cards website. Duke card historically has been a hard copy card, but as with most things in life, it is moving to a mobile app. And so your Duke card is really your ticket into most things at Duke. It's what you show to get into athletic events. It's how you pay for meals while you're here. It's your access to your dorm. It is really your key to all things Duke, and you want to have that set up before you arrive. Before you arrive, it's also important for you to go back and look through the move-in information that we sent to you via email a couple of weeks ago. That has several important documents in it. It includes, again, your move-in time and some tips for moving in. It includes maps of East Campus, which have specific routes that will allow you to move as efficiently as possible through campus. And then it also has your parking pass. In order to enter East Campus, during your move-in window, you must have that parking pass printed and on your dashboard. We do not allow for any cars that don't have that parking pass to enter East Campus during those move-in windows. Again, because there's limited space and capacity on East. One of the tips, we often ask our students things that they wish they knew before they moved in, and some of our student leaders. And one of the tips from them is label all of your bags and your boxes with your student name and the room number. It's easy in the hustle and bustle of unloading cars for things to just be set down and perhaps be moved around, especially if bags look the same. And so it's helpful for you to go ahead and label each of those things, because we're going to help you get settled in as quickly as possible, and we need to know to whom that item belongs. So when you pull up to East Campus, you're going to arrive at Duke during your move-in window. As we said, that 2-hour window, you cannot arrive beforehand. And arriving afterwards, you're going to have to wait until campus reopens later that day. But we ask that as you pull into the designated entry point, which each of you should know where your entry point is as well, based on the information we shared, you'll pull into East Campus and you'll stay in your vehicle until you're directly in front of your residence hall. You're going to be greeted by upperclassmen. We use about 450 upper class volunteers who are your orientation leaders and your residence advisors to help unload your car. Duke campus, one of the great things about Duke is that we truly try to roll out the red carpet for you and make you feel like this is your community, because it is. For the next 4 years, you're a vital part of who we are, and you help to shape Duke for the better. So we certainly want to make this an exciting time for you in this transition. Continuing with arriving at Duke, when you arrive and you pull up to campus, volunteers will unload your car for you. There's a lot of energy, a lot of excitement. So make sure that you know what your room number is for your residence hall, and we'll walk up to your car. We'll ask you what your room number is. You'll say 302. One of our team captains will put a sticky note on your car that designates 302 so that everyone unloading your car knows which dorm room to carry it in. Take advantage of this. We highly encourage you to, because this is the only time we're going to unload your car for you while you're here at Duke. Sophomore year, junior year, senior year, you're on your own. But this is the time to take advantage of upperclassmen, again, who are here to make sure that you know that you're welcome. We do ask that as you arrive, that one family member must stay at the car at all times. That's because, again, in the case of moving vehicles, it is narrow streets. And so if we have to move vehicles for any reason, we need to be able to access and move that vehicle quickly. So one family member will stay back. The student can follow the volunteers who are unloading the car. If there's a couple of family members who are there, then certainly one can go up there. But our hope is that you allow us to again, serve you in this sense and just welcome you to campus by unloading your car for you. When you arrive to your dorm room, your room will be unlocked. And so you don't have to worry about having your keys. There's no reason. You've read that you'll go to Brody Gym, and we'll get to that, but there's no reason for you to worry about your keys. RAs will have just unlocked your door for you. And there's one exception. We allow for some of our international students will be moving in a couple days early to allow them to adjust to the time zone. And so if your roommate is an international student, they may already be there. Because they may already be there, the dorm room may be locked. RAs will be floating around throughout each of the halls and can easily unlock that door for you. And we've notified all of our international students who arrive early of the move-in time when the rest of the dorm will be moving in. So they should be well aware that, that their roommate will be arriving during that time. If for any reason you need to leave and you need to leave your dorm room, but you have yet to go get your room keys, you can simply ask one of the RAs to lock the door behind you. So say you unload everything and your laptop is in there, you can ask the RA to lock the door behind you and they'd be glad to lock it so that you can go over to Brody and pick up your actual residence hall keys. So what next? So you've gotten to campus, we've unloaded your car for you. You've seen a snapshot of your room. There's a few essential steps that you can take. The first is that whoever was staying with the car needs to move the car. The car has to go over to Science Drive Garage immediately. That's going to be the place where cars are parked throughout the time here at Duke. It's a large parking facility over on West Campus. Again, because there's minimal parking on East Campus. So cars will be moved immediately to Science Drive. We've given you directions for that. There's a bus route that runs continuously until 5 p.m. that day from the parking garage to East Campus. So it will run constant loops. There are multiple buses, a fleet of buses that are running constant loops. So as soon as that person drops off the car, there will probably be a bus there that will bring them back within a few minutes. And you can expect to be back on campus or back on East Campus in 25 minutes or so. Once, after, again, everything's been unloaded to the dorm room, then the student is asked to go over to Brody Gym to pick up essential items. The family member, if there's a family member hanging around, they can stay in the room and begin to unpack if they so choose. But the student is asked to go to Brody Gym where you'll get several very important things. This is a mandatory stop for all students, whether you are an international student who has arrived a couple days early or whether you are arriving for the first time. You need to stop by there. It's also important that you go there, even if you are assigned to a dorm that has the Asa Abloy key card or key process, which allows you electronic entry. They don't necessarily have hard keys, but you still need to stop by Brody because there are other essential items that you have to pick up. Again, during this time, the student and the family can begin to unpack and begin to settle in. So talking a little bit about Brody Gym. Brody Gym is located on East Campus. It's a short walk from anywhere on East. And when you go over there, you'll find that there are a number of campus partners that are located in Brody, providing you with essential resources that you really need on day one while you're here. Do Well, which is Duke University's wellness unit, will be there to offer you a wellness welcome box that gives you some essential items to stay well over your first few weeks while you're here. Housing and Residence Life, which we use HRL as the abbreviation, will provide your room keys. So that's where you check out your room keys. And from that then on, you'll be able to enter and access your room freely throughout the rest of the day, but also for the rest of the year. You'll check that out there. Duke Card will be on hand to make sure that your Duke Card works, your mobile app or the mobile Duke Card works. So they'll have test facilities there. And if for any reason you're having a problem with your Duke Card, they'll be able to answer your questions and get that fixed for you. Again, your Duke Card is essential to swiping for meals, to getting into buildings throughout campus. So it's essential that it works on the first day. Your mailbox keys will also be available there. So every first-year student is assigned a mailbox and a mailbox number. Those are located on West Campus, but Duke Campus Mail will be on East Campus and distributing your mailbox keys in Brody. And then lastly, as you all are well aware, experiential orientation is our new orientation model. We are in year 2, and we ask that you stop by the check-in space there. This is where we'll confirm that you have a signed waiver, and it's also where we'll offer you your first piece of Duke swag, Duke merch, in exchange for that waiver. It's also important for you to meet the student leaders of each of those experiential orientation programs so they can tell you where to go and where to be the next day. Brody Gym opens at the first of the move-in, or the first of the first move-in shifts at 8 a.m. And then it continues until 3:30 p.m. So it does stay open for about an hour and a half after the last move-in window. You can go to Brody outside of your move-in window. So while you do have to arrive the car during the 2-hour window block in order to have access to campus, if you, for some reason, say you get to Brody, or say you are the last car in line in that move-in window and you're moving in at 9:50, you can go to Brody after your move-in window and they'll be happy to get you checked in with all those essential items. The question that we often get, let me just preempt this, is that you cannot go to Brody prior to your move-in shift. And that's because we're moving in people at a faster clip than we normally have. So there's going to be much more traffic, and we're not going to be able to look for room keys that are not in current distribution, because we'll be cycling those in and out. So let's talk a little bit about campus mail. This is something new for us that we're piloting this year. So in the past, campus mail has not been located on East Campus. When you ship stuff to Duke's campus, it was held over on West Campus. And so students were required to somehow get their packages from West Campus, take a bus over, and bring them to East. So we're doing something new this year by offering a temporary package pickup location in the Crowell building on East Campus. By now, you've received messages that if you've shipped things at this point and you've got a couple more days to ship things, we hope to have your packages available here on East Campus on move-in day, August 19th. The temporary facility will be open starting on August 19th. It won't be open earlier, but it'll be available on August 19th, and it will remain open for the following couple of days. Keep in mind, students, that you'll be in your experiential orientation program. Many of you will be off-site for your experiential orientation program, so it'd be best for you to pick it up on August 19th if at all possible. When you come over to the Crowell building on East Campus, students will need their mailbox number. You received an email earlier this summer that gave you your mailbox number, and you also need to have your photo ID to pick up packages. We're not going to allow for parents to pick up packages on behalf of their students. I mean, it's mail, so we can't do that. But we will allow for parents, obviously, to support or family members to support you as you pick up your packages. So if you and a family member or a friend, whoever's helping you to move in, is there, they can obviously help carry some of the packages. Just for your information, package pickup will be available and open and running from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on move-in day. So again, it stays open later than your move-in shift. We recommend that you pick up your packages during your move-in shift or afterwards. Picking it up prior will be logistically impossible for you because you won't have car access to East Campus, so you'll have to walk onto East Campus, then walk your packages off campus, and the residence halls won't be open at that point. Your residence hall is only open starting at your move-in window, so you would have no place to put it. So we highly encourage you to wait until your move-in window that day. So just a quick overview of what else is on East Campus, because there's plenty of things to see, there's plenty of things to do, but there's also plenty of resources to support you. Marketplace, which is the East Campus dining hall, will be open for breakfast and lunch that day. So we encourage you to take advantage of that. Throughout the day. If you need something to eat, you can certainly go to off-campus dining options if you'd like, and you can look those up and see what's available for you. But breakfast and lunch are available for purchase in the marketplace. There's also a coffee shop that's located underneath the marketplace, which will be essential to all of us on move-in day. And so that will be available for purchase as well. Linens, if you ordered linens through Blue Devil Delivery, those will be in the classroom building. You'll receive information about that, but classroom building is located on the main part of East Campus, and you can go pick up those packages there. You'll also, if you ordered a micro fridge through Blue Devil Delivery, those micro fridges will be delivered to your dorm room in advance of you. So it should be there in your dorm waiting for you when you move in. Additionally, there will be a hospitality tent that's located on the main part of East Campus, on the Baldwin Quad, as we call it. And there will also be a vendor's tent there. So a couple of vendors will be on campus. Laundryman is a laundry service. That's additional. It's not included, but if you wanted to subscribe to that laundry service, you certainly could. There will be an emergency tent for emergency management. There will be people answering questions there. And there will also be a bank there. The Duke Federal Credit Union will be on hand in case you have questions about banking or you want to open up a new account with them. The last thing to mention about, and I say this and I bolded it because it's not located on East, but it is another essential campus partner, which is Student Health. They are, again, opening their immunizations clinic throughout the day on move-in day. So they'll be available on August 19th. Also important to note that if you are out of compliance and you know that when you get here and you arrive on Friday, the immunizations clinic will be open on Friday. So if you know that you need those shots, you can easily go over there on Friday during their operating hours. I believe that they're open during regular business hours. So you can take advantage of that immunizations clinic and get those shots knocked out before move-in day and not have to worry about it at all. The last thing that I want to mention before I kick it over to my colleagues is to talk a little bit about getting around campus. We talk a lot about East Campus, and that is the first year residential campus. And so this is where your life will be for the first year, but it's not where your life is limited to during the first year. The other campus is West Campus. There is continuous bus routes throughout the academic year, but there is extra bus routes on move-in day to make sure that all of the visitors, including the new students, but also their families and their friends who are helping them move in, have easy access to moving around. So let me tell you the two primary bus routes that you'll likely be using throughout the day. First is the Science Drive Garage bus route. This Science Drive Garage bus route runs from Science Drive Garage to East Campus until 5 p.m. that day. This is the primary place where you will be parking your car. So it's a continuous route. It's an easy parking. It frees you, quite frankly, of the traffic of East Campus. And so it's an easier place logistically for you to park, even though if it takes a bus ride to get over there. The other bus route is the C1 bus route. And that travels from East to West Campus throughout the day. That's going to run until, it actually runs until 10:40 p.m. that night. That's the primary route that everyone will use to go back and forth between East Campus, the unloading area, and the residential place, and all of the afternoon and evening activities. So once you transition and go over to the dinner on the quad, which Grace is going to talk about in just a second, you'll use that C1 bus route. The last thing to mention about traffic patterns in general is that East Campus opens and it returns to their regular traffic pattern at 3:30 p.m. Prior to 3:30, it's going to be really important that you follow the directions of the traffic guards that are on campus, because our traffic patterns on East do not operate in a normal fashion, but they will pivot back to that normal mode of operation at 3:30. So they're going to be mindful that you should follow the traffic patterns of the cops that are telling you where to go in the morning. In the afternoon, follow the signage that directs you in the correct traffic pattern. At 3:30 is when you can come over, and if you needed to drop off something that you Target run or a Costco run back to your dorm, East Campus will be open again for you to get closer to your residence hall. Keep in mind that parking is very limited. You won't be able to stay for long, but you can certainly make a drop of items there. The last pro tip for students and for families is that Science Drive Garage is located on West Campus, and it's next to Cameron Indoor Stadium, which is where we end the night. So families, as you think about the rest of the day, once your car is parked over at Science Drive Garage, you end the evening in the closest possible place to Science Drive Garage. And so it's convenient for you. At the end of the night, students will bus back to East using the C1 bus route. That's a little bit about the flow of 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. And I'm going to invite my colleague Grace to hop back on and share a little bit more about what's going on later in the evening.
Thanks so much, Ben. I know there are already some questions, people asking about the full schedule of events. So that's what else we're going to talk about. What else can you expect on move-in day? And just reiterating that we will also have this schedule posted around East Campus, so you don't need to memorize it now. We'll make sure that you can take a picture of the schedule when you're here. So the next thing that most families are going to do after they arrive for their move-in window, unpack, take some time to settle in, is come over to West Campus for dinner on the quad. We will have a large Southern style barbecue with all sorts of dietary accommodations, vegan, vegetarian, kosher, all of that, from 4 to 7 on West Campus. We call the main quad Able Quad. You do not need to come for this whole time, but we would actually encourage people to come over sort of based on their move-in window. That is really so that we can get everyone in, right? We can have a flow of traffic. People can sit on a blanket or a table that we'll have and enjoy their meal, and then move on and make room for other people to come through. We're going to have lots of students and families on West that day. So we would encourage you all to try to use these windows, right? If you're that early move-in block, come over from 4 to 5 so that you can then clear out and allow those who have a later move-in to settle in after you. The goal here is really to enjoy time with your family, maybe meet some other families, relax. We know it will have been a long, emotional day. And so just spend some time together with your family. The next event, as folks are done with dinner, is we're going to encourage them to go over to Wallace Wade Stadium. Ben Ben, are you able to advance that slide? So Wallace Wade Stadium is within walking distance, so you can walk from the Able Quad over to Wallace Wade Stadium. This is our football stadium, so it'll be fun to enter before classes even begin. We have class jerseys for our incoming first year class, so they're personalized jerseys. They'll have the number 27 on them, so you'll come over and you'll get to pick up your jersey as a gift from our football team and our football coach. There'll be some vendors there, games, ice cream. So just continuing sort of the unwinding and fun of the day. Hang out for a minute as long as you'd like. If you're there earlier and want something else to do, the Nike store is also right there between Wallace Wade and the next place that you're going to be. So you're welcome to just jump into the stadium or to the Nike store if you'd like as well. And then you're going to go right next door to Wallace Wade is Cameron Indoor Stadium. So again, this is both students and families coming to the family farewell. This is sort of our pep rally for the day for the day. And so you are actually going to say farewell before you go inside. We know that might sound strange, but there's two different entrances. We're going to send students and families. Students will be on the ground floor inside Cameron Indoor, and then we have families upstairs. So we want you to just take a minute in between Wallace Wade and Cameron and say goodbye. Our students have a full schedule after this, which we'll talk about. And then on Sunday, they're going to be very immersed in their experiential orientation project. So this is the last moment that we think you can really take a moment to say goodbye, hug your loved ones, wish your student best of luck. Student, wish your families some luck too. Safe travels home, all of that. There will be directional signs directing students and families in. Again, it's going to be two different entrances because you're sitting in different areas. So yeah. But what does this actually mean? That's getting into family farewell. But what does the family farewell, what does it actually mean? So students, as you enter into the bottom, you're going to look for your quad. So we're going to have students sit by their quad, by their residence hall. So you're going to be in that lower section, as you can see in that photo, sort of with other people in your quad. This is really just a celebration of the class of 27 in true Cameron fashion. We're giving you a little taste of what Cameron will be like during basketball season and really celebrating you, right? Sending off the class of 27 into a great year. You'll hear from some university administrators, from some coaches. There'll be some pep and some cheer. Just a fun way to kick off the year together. And from there, we will dismiss students by their quad. They're going to end up busing over to East Campus by their residence hall for residence hall meetings, or for, so led by your resident advisor. So you're going to bus over with your quad. You're going to end up on your hall having a residence hall meeting with your residence advisor around 9. And then after that, you'll have a big house social. So your whole building will come together and have a social event. It'll be a great opportunity to settle into your life in your residence hall, right? To meet other people, the people that you're going to see every day for the next year, and just get to know them a little bit better. That hall meeting is required. It's critical. We're going to share some information about how you can live in the halls, right? What you need to know about actually living there before you start sleeping in your room every night for the year. So we'll make sure that you get straight from the family farewell to your hall meetings for the evening. And then families are going to stay after in Cameron. And we will have a little reception for you. So you'll be able to meet other families, mingle with some administrators, and just unwind for a minute. Again, after what we know will be an emotional day, right? A lot of excitement. So you'll just have a moment with us before we send you on your way. And I'm going to pass it off to Shamice.
Yes. And so what to expect from experiential orientation. So we're super excited about this orientation model. Like Ben shared a little bit earlier, this is year 2 for us. And so students are going to get to experience an amazing week long with your other new new to Duke students, your peers with some shared common interests. And so all students that are on this call, or those of you that are watching the replay, you should have already been in contact or received contact from your project directors and your orientation leaders who have been working diligently since the beginning of this year, this academic year, alongside with one of us and one of the NSFP advisors, but then also with another advisor who is actually a campus faculty and staff member. And so you're going to get to go through and have some excursions, some socials, some small group opportunities, really to get you immersed into campus. And so during O Week, not only you're going to have a chance to interact with students in your project, but you're also going to be able to interact with students in other projects and what we're called the big events during orientation weeks. And so all of these dates were also shared in your project pack. And students, you receive this directly from your project. For those of you that may have attended live your individual or unique project meetings, you had a chance to go through these, or they also share the replay. Families are on this call that this information was shared more recently in a family communication when you're able to see a little bit more information on what to expect from your unique project. But we're super excited about these big events during O Week. There's going to be socials. You're going to have a chance to take the big tradition, the class photo. If you all are following us on Instagram, got to see what that lovely class tradition is, the class photo on Friday. On Saturday, we're going to have the Welcome Back Bash, which is going to be on West Campus. Ending off with a fireworks show in front of the chapel. And then on Sunday, we have new student convocation. And so we'll keep saying this. Hopefully you have heard this before. And if you haven't, this may be the first time, but orientation is more than a week. So as much as we're excited about the experiential orientation model, this is not the end all be all. This is not the only way that you're going to get orientated to Duke or learn about Duke or learn about what Duke has to offer. So this year we're introducing Welcome Weeks. And so with the Welcome Weeks, this is an opportunity for you to be introduced to all of the many resources and opportunities on campus. And so our office actually partnered with several campus partners for these various weeks so that, again, you can get introduced and be able to start to see what Duke has to offer. And again, not only is it just this academic year or this semester, but your orientation to Duke is going to continue to be a constant thing. We can say you'll be oriented to Duke for the entire time that you're here on campus. And so again, all of the information on these Welcome Weeks, the dates and information has been shared in your project packs, but this also can be found on our website, and also the Blue Book has all of this information as well. But stay tuned, once you arrive on campus, you won't be able to miss this information. We'll have this posted throughout campus for you to view and see, and also on our social media too.
Wonderful. Thanks, Shamice. Thanks, Grace, for sharing that information. We're gonna, that's a lot of information that we gave you. We recognize that we covered a decent amount. My first recommendation would be for you to go back and look through the information that we've shared via email and the digest for a lot of it. But we're also, again, a reminder, we're going to present this information. Again, we've recorded this webinar so you can go back and watch it. We'll provide closed captioning available there so you can go back and read this information as well if you needed something to be repeated. We're going to turn now and take some of the questions that have been coming in. And I'm going to invite us to just kind of circle through some of them. We recognize that some of them are might be repetitious, and so we might kind of answer them once and then kind of keep going on to make sure that as many topics are addressed as possible. One of the first one of the first questions I see is actually about packages and about mail. So again, the campus mailroom, the East Campus temporary location is only going to be open on August 19th, and it'll be open for the remainder days after that. It's going to open at 8 a.m. first thing that morning. So again, it should be open by the time for the first window to be available. And then it'll close at 5 p.m. that day. They will reopen again the next day, and they'll be open on Monday and Tuesday as well. If the packages are not picked up by then, they'll all be transferred over to West Campus, which is the typical mail facility for students to pick up their packages. So this is an improvement from last year. It's a big change from last year. And unfortunately, we're not able to open the mailroom prior to that. We know we've been getting a lot of requests, but campus mail will not be in a place to have sorted and staged that and make for an effective distribution on Saturday. So we'll be opening just on Saturday. Grace, do you want to take the next one?
Yeah, so someone was asking about, do I need to stop in at the HRL desk if I have one of those electronic lock keys? And the answer is yes. We want every student to come through Brody Gym and go to every stop. Your check-in might look a little different, but we still want you to check in there, and HRL still wants to see you and welcome you and give you a few items. There are also a lot of questions about the parking pass. So to clarify, only new students receive that parking pass. It is an individualized parking pass for them, just one to the student. So students and families, you might need to be in conversation and make sure you have that parking pass printed and ready to come to campus, but it was sent once to new students. Yeah, what else are we seeing?
Seeing some questions about the family farewell. There's a question about kind of the length of the family farewell. The family farewell is expected to run from about 7:30 to 8:15. There's a family reception afterwards. Again, we invite you to come back, unwind a little bit, meet some administrators. That is scheduled to end at 9:30, but that is totally optional. It is a long day. We totally understand if you want to hit the road or if you just want to head back to your hotel. So please don't feel any obligation to stay, but we do encourage you to stay from the 7:30 to 8:15. President Price will be there. Our coaches, kind of several celebrity coaches will be there to greet folks. It's in Cameron Indoor Stadium. You'll get a taste for what it feels like to be truly part of that Duke spirit. So we encourage you to stick around as long as you can. What else, team?
There's a question about Uber or Lyft and whether you can use that to come to campus. You can. Make sure that you still have the parking pass, right? That parking pass is your ticket for whatever vehicle you're in to get onto campus. And just know that you might be in line for a little bit with that Uber before you get into campus, but you absolutely can. It doesn't have to be your vehicle by any means.
Great. I'm seeing a question about immunizations, going back to the immunizations piece. If you want to contact student health, that would be the best route to go. I believe I might ask Karina to drop in the email address in the back of the chat, but it is immunizations at Duke can give you a little bit more information about how to process those. Students should have a student health portal that allows them to submit all that information. And again, they'll be open for the clinic on that move-in day itself. Recognize that student immunizations is not just limited to undergraduate students. It is for all of our graduate students as well. So they have a full operation for several weeks. It's not accessible to undergrads during experiential orientation week because you'll be with your orientation project, but it will be open again the following weekend for you to jump back in and to get those shots. So student health is located centrally on West Campus. We have a wellness center that was third floor is Grace's favorite place. It's a great place for you to easily drop in, get those immunizations, and they will make sure that you know that you are out of compliance throughout the first month while you're here to make sure that you get those shots in time.
There's a question about when a week ends. So orientation week we use sort of generally, right? In some ways it starts with move-in day on the 19th. The experiential orientation part of it runs Monday through Friday, the 20th through 25th. But then there are still some events into the weekend. And of course, we believe that orientation is more than a week. We can't give students every single thing that they will want to know or need to know in a week because there's so much to learn about Duke and some of it is timely, right? It's hard to digest one little fact when you're still learning how to navigate East Campus. So the orientation process will take weeks and we'll guide students through it. Orientation week is probably more formally the 19th through the 27th.
looking a little bit about parking. Again, I see questions, not just about the parking pass, but about parking just in general. So there are a couple of families on here that are moving in early because they're international families that are coming in from a long ways away. You won't be able to park on East Campus during move-in day. So the alternative place for that would likely be Smith Warehouse, but using the Science Drive garage is going to be your best bet because you're going to have a bus waiting for you at the entrance to Science Drive garage to move around and take you around east and west. If a student already has a parking pass, they should be able to access Smith Warehouse parking lot on that day. Passes go active around mid-August. And so by August 19th, the student pass should be available if you've ordered one in advance.
Someone's asking if after the last move-in window, they can go back to the dorms if they need to make a run to the store. Yes, after 3:30, East Campus opens back up. And so if you need to do another run and come to campus, you can. There'll be less traffic on campus. So you'll be able to return back if you need to after 3:30. That's when traffic patterns change, and the Durham Police will let you back on campus regardless of parking passes. We are trying to sort through these questions. There's lots of great questions, so excuse a pause as we try to read and synthesize.
Yeah, as we stare blankly into the screen trying to read some of them. Yeah, so there's a lot of great questions about kind of going back to the food. I see some questions about like where to eat, but also some questions about the meal that night. So again, the food is available for purchase on East Campus at Marketplace. Breakfast and lunch are provided. They've got kind of a standard price for students that you'd have to pay for purchase on that day. The meal will be from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Our biggest encouragement again is that students who move in early during that first move-in window come to eat between 4 p.m. and 5 p.m. Students who move in during the second window come to eat between 5 and 6. That just helps us with the traffic flow and kind of it takes a lot to feed nearly 6,500 visitors on campus. And so just helping us with that traffic would be great. So we encourage you to eat early. A lot of the West Campus places will be closed that day for dining because it is an all hands on deck event for us to put on a picnic of this size. So encourage you to take advantage of that giant meal. I mean, I know that some families choose to eat off campus. That's fine, but we encourage you to kind of take advantage of this special treat that Duke puts on for its families.
There are a few questions really. I think we haven't answered these yet. My apologies, but there's a few questions related to a week. So one of them, a family was asking, one, will there really be no time to say goodbye on Sunday? Some of your students are starting very early on Sunday. That's why we're encouraging you to say goodbye as you're going into the family farewell, because students are going to be really busy. There also is a question about when do students come back to campus. So some of our experiential orientation projects take field trips that can be a few hours, that can be one night. There's a few of them, and your students will already know if that's them, that are really gone. They leave Sunday and they come back Friday. So you'd have to check with your student. It depends a little bit on their schedule, but they should have that information. They received a project pack with more details about their program, and our Last Family newsletter also linked those so that you can see sort of that information that was shared with students. Finally, I did see a question about how do students eat during orientation and what facilities are open. So students starting Sunday will eat with their orientation program, with their project. So it'll depend on their schedule, right? That means sometimes that project is starting the morning by eating breakfast in Marketplace. And I promise those project directors, the orientation leaders will explain that to your student when we're eating where. Some days they might be off campus eating at a restaurant, but we promise that they will get 3 meals a day through orientation week with their orientation project. When they wrap up midday Friday, there's a meal provided for everyone for dinner. And then their dining plan really opens up on the Saturday before classes, the 26th. So we promise that there will be food and students will eat during that time.
I'm going to take one that I think might be redundant. But with all due respect, I'm not listening to Grace and reading the questions at the same time. I'm kind of just trying to read through the questions. So Grace, you might have already said this. It's a question about like Ubers coming through. Yes, Ubers can come through the move-in lines and have the car unloaded. You can come back we encourage you to come through once and then wait to come back again until after that 3:30 when it opens up, because you'll have you will feel less rushed to drop stuff off. The thing for us is that you're only allowed for one car to come through East Campus, so you can't bring a caravan of people to unload. Again, I think that you will be pleasantly surprised at how fast we unload these cars. It is a race among students to see how quickly we can get them, and we're talking in the fewer than a few minutes type of unloading situation. So we move as quickly as we possibly can. Please keep in mind too, I'm seeing a couple of questions about like the last move-in window. We recognize that 12 to 2 might feel like a little bit of a pinch. This is the first time that in a while that we've moved back to 3 move-in windows. Last year, we were 4 move-in windows. So people were moving in from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. So this is an adjustment, again, to speed things along as quickly as possible, which is why we are a little bit more interested in, again, kind of moving at a high clip throughout the day to make sure that you got that time in the afternoon to be relaxed. The 12 to 2 move-in window, you will have time. I promise you'll have time to get settled in, to feel like you're going through Brody and getting all the things knocked out, and still make it in plenty of time to the dinner on the quad and the family farewell later.
Let me try to hit a few more. So there's a question about some of our international students or other students who have an approval to move in at a different time. On move-in day, the 19th, we still want you to come to Brody. There are things in there that you won't get elsewhere. So make sure you come. You can come anytime it's open to just check in with the other opportunities that are there. There are a few questions. I'm biased. I do a lot of our family support about what else for families, about family weekend. Are there more orientation opportunities? So I will just plug, if you haven't watched our orientation videos from this summer, please do. They are on our website and on our YouTube page. There's some great onboarding information there. We will also continue communicating with you throughout the year. So we send monthly newsletters to help you get a sense of what is going on on campus, right? What is campus life like? Continuing to spotlight different departments and events. So you'll continue to learn about Duke throughout your time here. We also provide webinars every once in a while throughout the year so that you can not just read a little short description, right, or a website, but hear more from the folks who are here on campus running departments or faculty, all of that. And then finally, family weekend will be November 3rd through 5th. We will continue to share information with you. That registration is going to open up in September, and we will share all of those details so you can register for the weekend. So we would love for you to bid farewell when you're entering the family farewell, and then come back in the beginning of November for family weekend to see what your students' life has looked like as they started their journey here at Duke.
Grace, I'm gonna rattle off like several because I think I can answer them briefly. So I see a question about food allergies coming in and who to contact during orientation week. We've got several food allergists who work full-time for us. They will be available. Duke Dining is hosting the major event, the dinner on the quad. They will have a tent available for families and students to go ask further questions about those allergies. You can also go look on Duke Dining's website. We are proud of Duke. I mean, Duke has done, they're noted across the country for the approach that they take to food allergens. And so I think you'll be very pleased by the results. When does Brody open again? On the 19th for student pickup. It doesn't close until 3:30 p.m. And so it stays open. So again, if you could be the first person to check in that day and have your car unloaded and not get to Brody till 2 p.m., that's perfectly okay. I'm not sure how you're getting in and out of your dorm, but like it's fine for you to do that if that's what you so choose. Does anyone build lofts these days? No, we don't build lofts anymore in the residence halls. Question about picking up packages in Kroll. So Kroll is not on the central part of campus, but it is an arm's length from several of the residence halls. We can send you a map. If you were to look it up right now, you could see where it's located. There will be a limited number of carts that are available, so you can use those carts. We just ask that you bring them back, and so it's a long walk back for that. But Campus Mail is going to provide a few of those. Another tip might be, if you are an opportunity for you, is that once East Campus reopens at 3:30 p.m., you can get a car closer to Kroll and get then your car closer to your residence hall. That's not true for every dorm. Just please note that again, every dorm doesn't have necessarily like curbside access, and so just be mindful of that. Grace, do you want to take some? You see anything? Labeling boxes? I see something.
I will just add to food allergies with orientation week. If you're worried, have your student reach out to their project director. We collected that information about their food allergies, but please have them reach out. We want to make sure that they feel safe and know that they're going to be cared for during the week. At some point I saw something. I just want to emphasize that your parking pass to enter campus is only to get during your window to your building. It will not get you into Kroll. So you will need to walk to Kroll to pick up boxes and packages. East Campus is not large. It'll just be a few minutes to walk there. We do know some residence halls are farther than others. We're still really excited about this opportunity because it prevents you all from having to bus to West Campus to pick up packages and come back. And so we're trying to bring it closer, your packages for a few days there.
See a question about extended family coming to celebrate. Certainly, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a big day in the life of your student. And so if you've got family that's coming along, that's certainly okay. Again, keep in mind that there's only one car that will be allowed on East Campus to come through. But if they want to come join us for the celebration later on that night and visit Cameron and visit Wallace Wade and see Duke Chapel and everything, that's great. We'd love to have them with us. There are 2 weddings that day in Duke Chapel. So Duke Chapel will be closed on move-in day to the public. But the libraries will be open. There's plenty of sites to see. These letters that you see on the screen, Duke will be out there. So there's plenty of opportunities to visit.
There's a question about a physical Duke card. We no longer have physical Duke cards. So your Duke card will just be mobile. This is your reminder. Submit your photo now. It's overdue if you haven't. And go through the steps on the Blue Book website so that your Duke card is already on your phone. So you'll be ready to go day one and won't have to worry about anything.
Great. See a question about, is there a charge for the garage on West Campus Science Drive? No, that parking is free that day. And so you can park there and leave your car there all day long. And again, Cameron is right next door, so it will be there waiting for you when you walk out of the last event. Can parents who live in NC attend convocation? No, that is just a student and faculty event and kickoff to the academic year. One of the questions that, there are going to be some items that you would prefer to carry yourself up the residence hall. For example, valuables, things that you just, prized possessions. That's perfectly okay. We're not gonna rip the packages out of your hands and carry them for you, but we just know that we encourage you to let us help you as much as you possibly can. We want you carrying as minimal boxes as possible to make sure that you've got the smoothest possible transition.
Some folks are asking about how do we get packages to Kroll if we haven't already mailed them there. To be clear, all packages addressed to your student for the duration of their time here, or for students addressed to you, needs to be have your residence hall, your box number on it. It's all the same address. So we just redirected where the mail was coming for a short period of time, and they're being stored in Kroll now. At some point, they'll then move back to West Campus. Right after a few days after move-in, they'll move back to West Campus. If you haven't shipped something already, you can try. We're now in this window where if it doesn't get to campus by, I think it's the 15th, Ben, then we can't guarantee it'll be in Kroll, but you should still ship it here. We'll be able to get you your packages. It just might take a few days as mail shifts back to West Campus. There's also a question about picking up a laptop if you ordered that. That will be in Brody Gym. If you ordered a laptop, you'll check in and get it there in Brody Gym. So first day right after you unload your vehicle.
Question about, can we get into the dorms early? No, you can't get into the dorms until your move-in window. That includes the day before, the day before that, the day before that. And so the only time that you can access your dorm is if you were assigned to the 8 a.m., 10 a.m., or 12 p.m. window. That's really largely around kind of a security, safety, and security type of thing. Our residential staff is busy getting things ready. The residence halls are not prepared to accommodate visitors at this. We're transitioning out of camp season into residence hall season. There's a whole host of factors that don't allow us to have access to the dorms until move-in day. Great.
It is, I was going to say 7:01, and there are some great questions here. I know we've answered a lot, and I think a lot of the things in the chat we have answered. I want to be respectful of people's time. we recorded this whole session. Give us about 48 hours to transcribe it. It'll be on the website so that you can keep reviewing it. We will link it both where you registered. So whether that's a first year or a family, where you registered, you will be able to view this. So on the parent and family site or on the Blue Book, you will be able to link back out and see this. If you need something before you get here, please don't hesitate to contact us. You can contact us at student orientation at duke.edu, family programs at duke.edu. Students, you could probably also reach out to your project directors who you should have been in contact with and keep asking them some questions if that would be helpful. We are so excited to see you all here in just a few days. We want to wish you all safe travels, soak up your last few days. Ben, anything else?
Grace, what would you give as one tip between now for the next 10 days? What's one tip to families and students to prepare?
Do something fun together, right? Like soak up the time. So what is something you do, whether it's your favorite meal, students request your favorite meal, or go to your favorite restaurant, right? Or just some activity that y'all love to do together. That's my sentimental answer. My practical answer is remember to put your residence hall room number on your belongings, because that will just make the day a lot easier. Ben, what about you?
I love that sentimental piece. Yeah, I think that's great. I would agree with that. And enjoy some time together because it's a super exciting time. My piece would be to knock out that My Duke checklist, the immunizations, the waivers. Make sure that's all ready to go, because it will make that day a little bit more stressful if we ask you to turn something in that you haven't, and there's a little bit of a delay and a lag there. So make sure you knock it out early, and then just enjoy the day. It's the most exciting day of the year. It's in our office, it's our favorite day of the year, and for most of our colleagues, particularly across student affairs, but certainly across you'll see a lot of people out here supporting Move-In Day to welcome you as the new class. So thanks again. We appreciate you, and we will see you in 10 short days. You all have a great transition. We'll see you soon.